Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to get this soft glam makeup look. So if you would like to see that in action, then stick around. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. Okay, so I do have you guys a little extra zoomed in today. I'm going to put a little bit of my hair back just so we don't get foundation and everything in my hair. So enjoy this super unflattering hair pulled back situation. First step for me is always to put on a little bit of moisturizer. I have really dry skin in some places. I just use the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. And so I just put a little bit on the areas that I know are going to get kind of dry throughout the day. Which with this weather going back and forth the way it has been, going from winter to spring, it's pretty much my whole face. So I just do a thin layer. I don't want it to be anything crazy. And then I do, oh yeah, feels good. I like this specifically because it's water-based and not like oil-based, so it dries really well. I don't like the texture of lotion and things like that on my face. This feels more like a gel that you put on, and then it dries down to where you don't even feel it on there anymore. I also like to put a little bit of chapstick on before I start doing my makeup. That way my lips are nice and moisturized for when I do put like a liquid lip or something that's going to kind of dry them out throughout the day on there. So, all right, I'm going to give my face just a second to dry off before we go to the next step. And that will be primer. Okay, so I'm not someone who is a firm believer that you have to have primer. I have a lot of exaggerated pores right here. So I like to use it whenever I'm trying to go for a really glam look, or if I know that I'm going to have makeup on for a really long time. I feel like it kind of helps hide those pores whenever my makeup starts to break down. So right now I'm using the brand new e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. A lot of people say it's a dupe for the Tarte Silk Canvas, which I wouldn't know because I'm not going to pay $50 or $60 for a primer that I'm going to use maybe once or twice a month. So a lot of the like Jeffree Star and some of the big beauty YouTubers, they say that this is a dupe for it. All I know is that I enjoy it. It's not super drying. It doesn't make your face feel like you're clogging your pores. It's just a nice little like putty texture that you just rub a little bit, just a tiny bit. I usually just use it in my T-zone area here. Yep. And then just spread it out like you would like moisturizer. Yep. It just kind of blurs your skin a little. There are a lot of course, more expensive primers and a lot of other, you know, mid-range primers that you can use. But this is what I have found in the last few weeks that works for me. So that's what I'm sticking with right now. Wet n Wild has a photo focus primer. NYX has like the Angel Veil. Those are both ones that you can get at the drugstore. First up, I like to do my brows. That way I can shape my face for the day. I kind of know how much eyelid space I have to work with. I usually just use a brow pencil. I use the Precisely My Brow by Benefit. And I just start off by spooling my eyebrows up so I can do like the underneath shape. I am not great at my eyebrows, I'm not gonna lie. I'm blessed with pretty full eyebrows, so I can just kind of go along with their natural shape and fill them in and make them a little more intense. So that's what we're gonna do here. I'll speed up through this process. Again, this is not my strong suit. There are a lot of things that you can use, just like fiber gels, which I like to go in and set my eyebrows in place with once I'm done. Pencils, pomades. I definitely would love to learn how to do my brows in the really, you know, sharp arch down to a point. I think that's going to be my next adventure, is investing in a good pomade and trying to do that at home. But for now, it's the pencil, and here we go. And again, I'm just following the natural shape of my brow. You don't want to press down too hard. You don't want it to look like you have harsh lines drawn on. Just doing little fine hair-like strokes to outline my natural brow. Then once I've got the bottom, I'll just kind of brush them down and sketch out around the points where the top of my hair, eyebrow hair is. After I've kind of got the edges done, I don't know if you can tell a huge difference between the two. I like to just go in and fill it in. You know, it's like a coloring book on your eyebrow. I do not like to bring the product out to the very edge. I think it looks like you block it off a little too much. I just kind of like to barely feather it in there, and then I'll take the spoolie and just kind of scratch part of it away so that it looks natural on the edge. I'm going to do the other brow off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I'm done with kind of getting the general shape and fill in for the brows, I'm actually going to carve them out just a little bit with concealer, and that is just to set a clear line between my eyebrows and my eyelid for my eyeshadow. I don't carve them out in the crazy, you know, beautiful shapes that some of the people that use pomades and go really heavy on their eyebrows use. But you can also just use it to clean up if you make a mistake. I added just a little too much pencil out here on the edge, so I'm going to be able to clean that up and sharpen it just a little. You can really just grab any concealer, and I like to just grab like a flat tip brush like this one, which is extremely dirty, and get a little concealer on the brush and carve it out, and then sort of prime my eyelids for eyeshadow with it at the same time. So I had a really hard time with this at first as well, just because you have to kind of figure out how to stamp and learn how to draw along that general shape of your brow. I'm still not, you know, the queen of carving up my brows. Then I just like to take the excess product, drag it down on my eyelid, look like a fool for a second, and then take any type of beauty sponge. This is the Morphe beauty sponge. It's like $7 at Ulta. And just blend that out really well up to my brow and all over my eyelid. Make sure that when you're doing this that you blend it really well right here in the corner of your eye. Otherwise it's going to look cakey whenever you put on foundation and try and blend it in with your foundation and eyeshadow later. Okay, there's the first one done. I'll go ahead and do the other side and then we'll go to the next step. I just messed up so bad. Do you see what I did? I got excited a bit. I'm a poet. Okay, now that I've got my eyebrows in the general shape that I want them to be in, I'm going to take a little bit of the Benefit Gimme Brow. It's a fiber gel. I also have a Rimmel one that I get at the drugstore for $5. All this is basically hairspray for your eyebrows with a little bit of tint on it to lock them in place so they're not flying all over the place throughout the day or going in weird directions. Alright, next up for me is foundation. There are a couple of different foundations that I really enjoy. I have a Photo Focus foundation from Wet n Wild. That is like $5 at the drugstore. They don't have a huge shade range, so it's hard for me to use it in the winter when I'm even more pale. It shows there's like an orange line because it does oxidize a little bit. But my most favorite that is also almost empty is the MAC Studio Fix. And I got this at Belk, you know, in the little MAC store since we don't have an actual MAC store around here anywhere. I use my beauty sponge to put it on. I just put a few drops all over my face and then I blend it out. So, yeah, she's really close to being empty. Sometimes I'll do my eyeshadow before I do my foundation, but that's usually if I'm going for like a really crazy bright colored look for the day. And today I'm just going to keep it pretty toned down and more natural than normal. Just because this is something that I want other people to be able to do, but not everybody wants to wear purple lipstick and green eyeshadow. I feel like I pull off the Barney vibes very well, but not everybody wants to do that. So we're gonna do a little toned down, soft glam, is that what you, I don't know, everyday makeup. I don't call it everyday makeup because I don't wear makeup every day or ever, just on the weekends. So this is not super full coverage, but I kind of like my natural skin to come through a little bit in areas. This is just to kind of even out the pigmentation in my skin since I do have some redness. It does seem like this one is a little lighter than my face at first, but it really matches my neck and the rest of my skin. So this is the shade that I go for, which just so happens, if you are curious and you're also super pale like me, I have the NW10 in the MAC Studio Fix foundation. I'm going to put just a little bit more on here. I've also been having some really terrible breakouts around my chin lately. I think it's because the weather's going from hot to cold to hot to cold. It can't decide if it wants to be spring or if it wants to continue to be winter. For concealer, I generally just do under my eyes, a little bit down the nose and around my nose here because I do get a lot of redness. I have a lot of seasonal allergies, and by seasonal I mean every day, all year. So I get a lot of redness there, so I like to make sure that I can prevent that from coming through as long as possible. So just gonna go in. Also, I'm only gonna do this one section at a time today because this dries extremely quickly and I don't want to be stuck with some yellow triangles on my face. So like I said, I'll put a little bit under my nose here. A little right here, a little right here. You know, just draw on your face. Pick the high points of your face and just draw concealer all over them. Blend it out and you probably did a great job. That's what we all do. We just guess. The next thing I'm going to do is set my face with some powder because I do get some creasing here and here. And I want to keep this in place all day since I'm going to the movies and out to dinner. I'm probably going to do a little shopping. So I'm going to need this to last all day long. I use the Coty Airspun. It's super cheap from the drugstore. I do not wear makeup enough to invest in the expensive $30 or $40 setting powders when they have stuff like this at the drugstore that works fantastic. The only issue I ever have is sometimes if I'm using the flash on my camera, I'll get a little whiteness under here. But that happens even with some of the more expensive powders. So this $5 at Walmart. So let me grab a brush here. Just gonna use a big fluffy brush, get a little bit on my brush and just kind of pat it into my skin. Just get a nice little coated layer. I will say the one terrible thing about this powder is it smells like someone's grandma who wears just a little too much perfume. So, and now I look like a beautiful ghost. You can just call me Casper. I'm not as friendly though. All right, I'm also gonna put a little bit more under my eyes to set under here so that when I do work on my eyeshadow, if I have any fallout, I can just sweep it away pretty easily. So I'm gonna dump me some out. I'm gonna take the flat side of my beauty sponge here and tap in there and then go all under my eye. I'll also take the sharp side of this and I'll kind of create a line if I choose to do winged liner or if I want a really sharp edge or to make it easier to blend out the edges of my eyeshadow later. Just to have that line there that just kind of gives you a good idea of where you would want your eyeshadow to end. Okay, let's bronze my face and make me look a tiny bit less like a ghost. I have such fair skin. It always looks a little orange whenever I wear bronzer, but I did get this Physicians Formula Butter Collection set last year that came out, or last fall, I don't know. It has a blush, 2 highlighters, and a bronzer, and a perfume in here. The only thing that I really use out of here is the bronzer and occasionally one of the highlights, but they're a little ashy on my skin. They look weird. So I'm just gonna grab a big fluffy brush and roll it around in here real good. I'm gonna kind of pinch the edges of the brush just a little bit and go into my cheek area, below my cheek, I guess. I don't contour because I suck at it. I've tried. I have a lot to learn when it comes to makeup. I just really enjoy doing it. I think it's fun to transform yourself, and you can look like someone different. You can look like a better version of yourself. You can get super creative, and I don't have a lot of talents when it comes to being artistic. My sister can sing, she can paint, she can play piano, she can do almost anything, and I can put makeup on my face. So I say that's a tie. But this is kind of something that I've picked up in my adult life. I never really wore makeup in high school. I was never very girly at all. Ask my friends. Basketball shorts and t-shirts every single day of my life. And I never really thought that fat girls were allowed to like wear makeup or dress super cute. I also didn't have a lot of options whenever I was in high school. But over the last couple of years, I've really picked it up, and I think it's really fun. I don't know why. I guess it was just like the stigma behind it, that like fat girls can't do everything else that skinny girls can or anybody else can. Like we were just left out. So this is like me taking back control and being like, I can look pretty, I can do whatever I want. And so that's where I stand with playing with makeup. And also, I never really liked bright colors. Back in the day, like lime green has been the only color I've ever really just loved when it comes to bright colors. But now that I have all these options to put on my face, I have a really good time playing with color. Excuse me. Sorry, Mom. I guess I should say sorry, Dad, because he's the one who always complains that me and my sister burp all the time. All right, I'm also going to take a little bit of bronzer and put it around my forehead. I don't have a huge forehead, so I don't like to bring it down too far. Otherwise, it makes me look like I don't have a forehead at all. So we're just warming that up a little bit too. Next, blush. I don't wear much because I already have naturally rosy cheeks. So I'm going to take the itty bitty tiniest amount of this Note blush that one of my friends got in her BoxyCharm that she doesn't use. It's a very wintry blush. It's very dark. I'm just barely gonna tap into that, get the excess off, and just throw a little bit on my cheek. Blend it into I like to blend it into the bronzer, so it's kind of like all one fade into the highlight up later. So there's that. You know, this is so pretty if you go in with, like I said, a very light hand. I didn't go in with that light of a hand. So, if you mess up and you put a little too much color on your face, like I just did, I just take the same brush that I used with my powder earlier. You can pick up a little excess powder. You can use what's on your brush and just kind of like go over top of it, and it will definitely mute that color just a little. Not a ton. You don't want it to take away everything, but it will definitely mute your color just a little bit. Okay. That's all I'm going to do as far as my face goes right now. I'm going to go ahead and move on to eyeshadow. So I'm just going to do like a warm, neutral, smoky eye situation, I think. So I'm just going to grab my Jaclyn Hill palette. It has lots and lots and lots of browns inside. I'll show you. It's messy. There they are. I think I'm probably going to use, you know, you can see which ones I use and which ones I don't very often. So I'm just going to go in with a really light brown shade on a fluffy brush to start with and make a good transition shade. So I just like to go in super lightly, just kind of tap it on and then swirl it out. We tap and we swirl, we tap and we swirl. It's like the bend and snap, but we tap and we swirl. I like to keep this pretty high. I Don't like to take it down too far, but I definitely like to have this as the outermost blended out color on the top here. Alright, there is our transition shade laid down. Next I'm going to get a slightly smaller, possibly, maybe, hello guys, fluffy brush and go into a slightly darker shade of brown. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep it pretty warm with the browns, and I'm just going to go a little bit lower and blend that in to the shade I've already laid down. Alright, after that, I'm going to go in with one more slightly darker shade of brown on an even smaller brush and just focus that on the corner to deepen that up a little. Then I'm going to go back in with the large fluffy brush that I started with and just kind of blend everything together. Make sure there's no harsh lines. Then I'm going to take a flat packer brush, like this one, and I'm going to pick one of the shimmery shades just to kind of go all over my lid. I'm a big fan of mixing, okay, focus, hi. I'm a big fan of mixing this shade and this shade together, which is Faint and Obsessed. So I'm going to mix those two together. We're just going to pack that all over the lid. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, I'm again going to go back in with that same fluffy brush, if I can find it, this one, and just blend between the shimmer and the matte to make sure there's no harsh lines and everything just really flows together nicely. I'm going to take another flat brush and I'm going to just run some of the brown under my eyes to smoke it out just a little bit. Again, same fluffy brush, and just soften up the edges of that just a little. Don't want it to look like you just took a marker and drew under your eyes. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is sweep away this excess powder and get that off of my face. The only things left to do are my lips, highlighter, mascara, and eyeliner. I like to go ahead and give my face a nice spritz before I do that, because I feel like sometimes it can make your mascara run if you do it afterwards, and it also makes the highlighter even more intense when you put it on. It smells good, it feels good. Okay, next up I'm going to do eyeliner. I use the Maybelline Lasting Drama Waterproof Gel Pencil. It is fantastic. I feel like it lasts a long time. It goes on super smooth. Next up, the Voluminous Lash Paradise from Loreal. Favorite mascara from the drugstore ever. Fun fact, most girls curl their eyelashes. I do not, because one time I was curling my eyelashes when I was like, I don't know, 22, 23, back when I just wore mascara and eyeliner, and I ripped all of my eyelashes out of my head on the left side. So Casey doesn't curl her lashes anymore. The mascara is going to have to do it for her. And in case you're wondering, Casey, how the heck did you pull out all your eyelashes? Well, I got a little carried away when I was curling, and when I went to release and let go, it wouldn't release. Like, and it was a really fast, like, and I was like, oh God, it didn't release, and jerked out all of my eyelashes. It felt like my eyeball got waxed. That's what it felt like. It wasn't like super painful, it was just, I felt naked all of a sudden. And a tip for those of you who get mascara all over your face like I do, got a little drop right here. I'll wait till it dries. I'll take the spoolie from my brow pencil and scrape it right off and it'll disappear. The next step is my favorite step of all, which is highlighting my entire face. We are gonna use the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Skin Frost in Ice Cold because it is my favorite shade of all time for highlighters. I'll grab my Morphe 510 brush and I'm gonna highlight my face. I'm just gonna rub it around really good in here, tap it off, and go to town. Oh yes. Can you see? Glowing, glowing. Oh yes, shine baby shine. When it comes to highlighter, less is not more. More is more. More is always more. All right, I like to do a little dab on the tip of my nose. Brush a little bit across the bridge there. Throw a little on the forehead, above the eyebrows, and on the Cupid's bow. Now my whole face is it's just glowing. Also, because I'm feeling extra frisky today, this is not necessary. I'm gonna take a Jeffree Star highlighter, one of the Supreme Frosts in Frozen Peach. It's got a little more glitter in it, and throw it on top. I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera, but I can in real life. Gonna take a little bit more of that highlighter on a tiny little pencil brush, and I'm gonna put just a little bit. I'm gonna wet it this time, just so it'll stick a little better. Do, 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 do. And I'm gonna put that right in the inner corners of my eyes so I can glow continuously all day. I'm gonna add just a little more in the very, very tip of my nose so that it glows forever and ever. And we're gonna put just a little bit above the brow bone. Last step is lipstick, and I am all done. I'm gonna grab my NYX lip liner in the shade Nude Suede Shoes and line my lips, and then I'll add a liquid lip, and then we'll be all done. All right, the lips are nice and lined. So now I'm going to take, hello, ma'am, sir. Where did you go? My Jeffree Star Velour liquid lipstick in the shade Daddy. That's right, I said Daddy. And I'm gonna put that all over my lips. And I also overdraw just barely, so I have more of a Cupid's bow. I don't really have lips, they're very small. So we're gonna just accentuate them a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take my hair down now. Be free, girl, be free. I'm going to, let's see if I can scrape this mascara off now. I don't know if it's had enough time to dry. Oh, look, she's gone. All right, the very last step of this routine is to give my face one more spritz of setting spray, and I'm gonna use the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray because it locks it in place really great. And I'm gonna fan my face one more time. Isn't that fun? And we are all done. Cue the narcissistic montage now. Okay, you guys, that is all for this simple, easy, glam makeup tutorial. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Shout out to all of my friends that actually asked me to do this. I hope that it helps you in your makeup routine. And if you guys don't mind, leave a thumbs up on this video, make sure that you like it, and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below letting me know if you tried this tutorial, or if you like this makeup look, or if you want to see a different kind of makeup look from me. That's all for this week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!